Brandon Vega. I would allow Professor Brandon Vega to say a word or two about him and what he does and what he expects you guys to gain from his own experience, and he would lead the discussion. So, Professor Vega, you have the floor.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. As Dr. Indy asked, if y'all don't mind, if y'all could, come up a little closer, make it a little more intimate, I would greatly appreciate that. While it is optional, you don't have to. I would just like that preferably. As Dr. Indy has said, my name is Brandon Vega. I'm from Miami, Florida. I'm a professor at St. Thomas University, and I teach a class called The Art of Storytelling. And my being here is because of social capital. I met a gentleman by the name of Reek back home in Miami who was raving about this great professor here at Tuskegee University, and that great professor happens to be Dr. Indy. So one of the things I learned when I was in college was to never delay gratitude. So I'm here because Dr. Indy has extended an invitation for me to come up and be a part of yesterday's panel and to get the opportunity to speak to you all today. I hope that with things that I say, there's something that you could take from it and there's something that you can learn. Before I get started, I'm gonna pass around a few things and then I'll explain them. If you could just take one and pass it. If we need more, we'll give them out. And you can pass either one as well. You don't have to if you don't want to. So what I'm giving out is a flyer of some of the work I do back home. If you guys know any educators or anybody that cares about education, reading, writing, all of those different things, please feel free to forward my information. The wristbands that's also going around is a part of my nonprofit. I have a nonprofit called the Eaton Project. The word for Eaton means exist above the noise. And existing above the noise is not getting distracted or deterred from your goals in life. And that just comes from where I'm from. So back home in Miami, where I grew up at, I grew up in a place specifically called Carroll City, which is now known as Miami Gardens. If you know who Rick Ross is, I'm from the same place he's from. And growing up, I was very curious of, why some of my friends, participating in certain activities and doing certain things. This book right here, Ghetto Conscious Evolution of a Rebel, that I have on display for you guys to look at. This book was inspired by a friend of mine whose name was Lavelle Murchison, and he was killed a few years ago with his 7-year-old son. And he was my next door neighbor, and he was somebody that I looked up to and somebody that I wanted to be just like. While I never wanted to, be involved with killing people, I definitely wanted to reap the benefits of what it meant to be a street guy. But I learned very quickly that, the streets is not, the way to go, because there is no, how can I put this? There's no real success plan in it. You stay lucky for a little bit until you either get caught by the police or until, the beef you run into, get you killed. So this is kind of different for me because in my class, I teach my book. And I've had the opportunity to work at St. Thomas University because of a book. I'm a young man who grew up never thinking he would ever go to college. Now I work at one. I played college basketball, even though I probably don't look like it. I was awarded, the opportunity to go to school for free because of my abilities and my talent. Because like most people in my community, we strive for NBA, NFL, fast money, and things of that nature. But the ability to critically think and put education to the forefront is not necessarily a real thing. So now that I'm in a position that I'm in, understanding the nuances and different things that take place in a certain environment, I'm now using what I learned from my environment to further my education and to also be in front of people like yourselves to expose you to a different way of thinking and a different way of looking at things. Going back to Eaton, I really believe in this ghetto or whatever we want to call it. I don't believe in the myth or the lies that America tells us about, young black boys and young black, girls and minority people that come from a certain environment that is sometimes unfavorable. I believe that, and not that I believe because it's fact, diamonds come from dirt, and diamonds are made from pressure. And the pressures that you face when you grow up in a certain environment is totally different than growing up in a suburban community or a community that doesn't have any real obstacles. Every day coming outside was a choice. There was times where I was scared to come outside because I didn't know if I was gonna come back in the house. And not because, again, my environment was just this treacherous environment, but I understood that if somebody came outside feeling a type of way and they was having a bad day, maybe you was the one they was gonna pick. I had a friend, or not had because he's still alive, I have a friend named Charles. We call him C-Man. And I remember growing up, when C-Man was outside, that was somebody you wouldn't want to be outside with unless you was ready to fight. C-Man was one of those people that he looking to bully, he looking to fight, he looking for smoke, he looking for problems, right? And if you're not with that, you probably don't want to come outside. Then I had other friends who, was kind of the same way, but then there's also people who picking at you all the time, always trying to, get you out of character and things of that nature. So learning quickly from those things, I was very curious to why are we doing this? Why are we participating in the same activities? Why are we going to jail at the rate we going to jail? Why, when somebody does get killed, why are we desensitized to it? Why doesn't it bother us when we hear about another funeral? Why do funerals get shot up? Why is it retaliation? And so on and so forth. So this environment is so complex that it really doesn't make sense. And it especially doesn't make sense if you're not from it. And if you're not from it, right, I believe that Brandon Vega has been placed in the world and put in this world to kind of give people a better understanding. That's why, again, the book is called Ghetto Conscious. Because growing up, I thought the word conscious meant that you were smart. You had to be super intelligent to be conscious. But conscious is just your ability to be aware of what's around you. And ghetto is the acronym for genuinely helping everyone thrive through obstacles. Ghetto means genuinely helping everyone thrive through obstacles. Ghetto doesn't mean what people want it to mean, right? The ghetto could be Disney World. Anywhere you are can be whatever you want it to be. It's just about your imagination. I also have the fortune when I'm back home to work with juveniles and people who are incarcerated and things of that nature, teaching my program. And I've been very fortunate to do that because while I'm still on this roller coaster ride of trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, I truly believe in the acts of service and helping other people have an understanding for navigating their lives. Brandon Vega is not perfect. I don't have all the answers. I don't think I know everything. All I know is I work very, very hard. I've worked very hard to get to this position, and the work has shown. Like I said, I work at a college because of this book. I didn't apply to work at St. Thomas University. The president of the school read this book. He thought it was so good that I should be working there. Now here I am. I never wanted to be a professor. I never wanted to work in no college. I never wanted to public speak. I actually don't like speaking. I actually don't like being in front of people because I knew if some people knew how I lived in real life for real, you guys would be like, why the hell is he talking to our classes? Because I'm human just like everybody else. But again, I also believe that I was gifted a talent and an ability to articulate and explain things that my peers can't explain. I have a friend who's my best friend. He's my best friend. I love him with all of my heart. If you gave him an 8th grade book and you asked him to read a chapter, he probably would struggle mightily. He probably would have struggles reading an 8th grade level book. Now, we have to ask ourselves, how can a grown man not be able to read, right? The average reading level is 3rd to 4th grade, I believe. I don't know which one, so don't quote me on it, but I believe it's either the 3rd or 4th grade where black men, that's their reading level across the board on average, right? So for myself, that's a problem because I'm a black man and I don't, yes ma'am.
In the United States?
Yes ma'am. And I see that as a problem. I see people being illiterate as a problem regardless of color. However, because I'm a black man, I also understand the importance of trying to get people to see the importance of reading, because we don't have no problem going outside to play football, play basketball, writing raps, selling drugs, and doing all of these different things. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not perfect. And I'll share this because this is my sensei, this is my teacher, this is a father figure, this is a mentor to me. I've sold drugs before. Not because I needed to. Not because I needed to. I had a roof over my head. I know who my dad is. I know who my mom is. I know who my family members are. But I sold these drugs because I felt like this is something that I probably have to do to fit in. Not knowing that I could get my face blown off. Or not knowing I could go to jail for a very long time for something very, very stupid. Right? Some of the decisions that we make, our life can change in 1 to 2 seconds. I remember when I first signed my scholarship to go play basketball at Winthrop University. My whole life I wanted to be a Division I basketball player, but people was like, Brandon, you too small, you're not good enough, you sorry, you this, you that, you the third. In the state of Florida, I was ranked 296 in the state of Florida my senior year. So the people who made these rankings said that 295 people were better than me. I am one of 8 people in my class to play Division I basketball. So I say that to say that it doesn't matter where anybody ranks you. It doesn't matter where you at currently in your life, okay? You could go wherever you want to go as long as you put in the work and as long as you believe in yourself. Now going back to selling these drugs, right? And not drugs like I was this heavy drug dealer or anything like that, so don't think like that. This was like petty, selling. But I was wondering, if the name of the game is to stay low key and not let anybody know you're doing this, how is anybody gonna know I got it? If I have to sell it, people have to know I have it. But I have to stay low key enough to know that if people know I got it, people start talking. So it's a contradiction in itself. Especially if you're getting a lot of money. Especially if you dress fly. Especially if you got jewelry. Especially if all the women like you. Especially if you're driving all the cars. People are gonna be curious to where are these things coming from, right? The first time I ever did it, I made like $50 in maybe 5 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a thing. And then after that first 5 minutes of making those quick little $50, I don't think I seen another dollar until 2 days later. So then I'm thinking this ain't the hustle I want to be on. Because I'm not about to just walk up to people and say, hey, do you smoke or this and that and the third? So it didn't make sense to me. All right? It didn't make sense to me. But while I'm also speaking, I may be speaking in circles and things of that nature, so I'll always come back to things. Because for me, I never plan anything. All right? I just do what my heart says and what my mind tells me. All right? So in that, going back to my friend who was killed, I wanted to be just like him. Right? He was doing his thing in the streets. He was getting money. He also happened to be a killer. Right? I wrote a piece in my book where I talk about my next door neighbor being a killer, but nobody knows except for me. Right? And I'm the type of person as well. I don't judge anybody. It doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are. I've been blessed to, live in different states and just get a different experience, gain different knowledge and wisdom, opposed to being stuck in one place and thinking one way about different people. That's why communication is very important. That's why conversation is very important. While you guys are here at this college, this is the only time in y'all life, whether you believe it or not, this is the only time in y'all life that y'all gonna be around this many intelligent people at one time. When you go out into the workforce or whatever you do, you're not gonna have this many people that's knowledgeable about the things that they're knowledgeable about. So you need to be asking your professors a lot of questions. Make them work. Go to their office hours. Make them get tired of you. Okay? Because that also shows your willingness to want to be better, to want to be great. I'm not the smartest person in the world. My sophomore year, I had a 1.9 GPA in high school. I had a 1.9 GPA. And again, it's not because I wasn't smart, but it was because I wanted to be cool. I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted to sit in the back of the class. I wanted to make jokes. I wanted to lower my intelligence level because I didn't want my friends to feel insecure. That's ghetto conscious. The ability to have the emotional intelligence to recognize other people around you. That's why I know and how I know when to say certain things and when not to say certain things. That's why I also don't disrespect people. I know what disrespect can earn you. Not get you, earn you. I've seen people have things done to them. Violent things done to people for just looking at somebody crazy. So imagine saying the wrong thing to somebody. So again, while all of these things are, external things that take place in certain environments, certain communities, these things are relative to a classroom. Take this time very, very, very serious. Right now, I'm a candidate to receive my PhD. Who would have ever thought Brandon Vega after a 1.9 GPA would be striving to get a PhD? I'm not getting a PhD to say I'm smarter than anybody. I'm not getting a PhD to say I'm Dr. this. I'm getting a PhD so when I do go to these juveniles and when I do speak to boys that look like me and when I do speak to the future, I can talk about why education is important. Because I put myself through it. And trust me, I know you all know that this is a very tall task. It's not easy. It's very grueling at times. Very, very grueling. I don't like reading all the time. I don't like studying all the time. I don't like writing all the time. But again, I also understand my purpose and I also understand what I've been called to do. So while I grew up wanting to play basketball, wanting to go to college, wanting to do this and that and the third, I'm a much better public speaker than I ever was a basketball player. I'm a much better professor than I ever was a basketball player. And I used to wake up at 4:45 every single morning to be to the gym by 5 o'clock to make sure I put up 500 shots before 6 o'clock. I did that relentlessly, every single day. And I wasn't rewarded the way I thought I should be rewarded. So I fell out of love with basketball. And it was so sad when we had the divorce. It was very sad. But I understood that she no longer loved me the way I loved her. And that can be very, very depressing when you love something so much and that love is not being returned. Are y'all following me? Is this all making sense? Because also when I stand in front of people, especially when I'm in a new environment, I want to make sure I'm making sense. I want to make sure that this is worth your time. Because I also understand that you don't have to listen to me. When I talk to my classes, when I talk to my students, I tell them everything is optional. You don't have to do the work. You don't have to come to class. You don't have to come to the office hours. You don't have to respond to emails. But I get to grade you. And if you leave it in my hands, you're gonna earn your grade, which will be that nice, fantastic. And that's not something that, we like to do. So I always want to give people the autonomy to make choices because life is about choices. We all have the free will. We all have the opportunity to make certain decisions, right? So going back to wanting to be a college basketball player, I was fighting, to prove to people I was just as good as everybody who they said was better than me. I had to live in Mississippi for 10 months because of that blunder of, academic steps I took or whatever the case may be my sophomore year where I had that 1.9 GPA, right? My grades weren't even good enough for me to go to a junior college. So I lived in Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi for 10 months. Then I moved to Ephraim, Utah. Has anybody in here ever heard of Ephraim, Utah? Has anybody in here ever been to Utah? No? Okay, when you get a chance, Google the population of Ephraim, Utah. Google the population when you get a chance. Okay, I lived there for 2 years. Does anybody in here know about the Mormon culture in Utah? Yes. Yeah. So just imagine what I had to go through. My freshman year, I've only told, this is my third time ever telling this story. My freshman year in Utah, I was riding in the car with 3 other teammates. All of us black, of course. And one of my teammates got the brilliant idea to use his airsoft gun to shoot at other students while we were driving to campus. Now, I'm so grateful that we happen to be in Ephraim, Utah, where crime is not a big thing, or where the police isn't really, how they would be in other cities, because I wouldn't be standing here. I would have got killed. But anyway, we all got arrested that night. And again, sticking to the code of the ghetto, wanting to be down, not wanting to be a snitch, I almost lost my scholarship because I didn't want to tell on anybody. When the police was questioning me, I was trying to be smart. And we all know how it could go when you know, trying to be smart with police officers. Especially when you make them look dumb. And that's something that I really like to do. I don't like the police at all. At all. My father is a police officer. And I do not like the police at all. I rode in the police car every day to school. Every day I went to school, my dad dropped me off and I had to ride in the back seat. And again, the consciousness to understand, if you're riding in this back seat where it's tight, it's hot, and you don't have on cuffs, why would I ever want to be back here with cuffs? When my dad used to get mad at me, he would cut the AC off and he would shut the back window. When my dad would get mad at me, sometimes he would put me in handcuffs and make the handcuffs so tight, and I would have to just wear them. So the psychological trauma, things I've been through, it'll blow your mind. And at first I looked at it like, okay, this is just discipline. But now as a father, I'm somebody's dad now. My son is 5 years old. His name is Messiah Royale Vega. You'll probably be hearing from him soon in about 20 or 25 years because he's being raised to be a leader. I'm a leader. I am not a follower. I only follow people like this. But then soon it's going to be my time to be the king of the hill. I know what I am. I'm not afraid to say that. I know the work that I put in. Everybody in here has the ability to be great. Everybody in here is great. You just have to believe that. Now, it's not for me to tell you that you're great because I've already told you, I've already done my job. So whatever you do with it is not up to me. Because again, I'm no different than anybody in here. So going back to this police thing, I don't like the police officers. I don't like them. So I'm trying to be slick. I'm trying to be tough. I'm not giving up any names. Right? I get threatened to lose my scholarship and to get sent back home, and I'm still not telling because I don't understand the magnitude of getting kicked off this team. I'm the first person in my family to graduate college, guys. I'm the first person in my family to graduate college. So look how ignorant I was at the time that I wanted to be so cool that I wouldn't snitch, even with going home on the line. But it ended up working out for me because I didn't get in trouble. So I breezed through those 2 years at Snow College. I played well enough to earn a Division I scholarship like I always set out to do because people told me I couldn't do it. I never wanted to play basketball because I actually liked it. I played to prove people wrong. Who in here gets motivated when people tell them what they can't do? Why do y'all think that's a thing? Yes, ma'am.
I think it's a thing because we know what our boundaries and our limits are, and they don't. So having that satisfaction to show them that we're capable of doing what we are able to do proves something not only to us but to them, knowing that, hey, you told me I can't do it, but I just did it. And I mean, I can use myself as an example. People told me I couldn't go to college. People told me that I wasn't gonna make it in the military and so on. But I'm not only moved myself all the way across the country to put myself through college. The military is paying for my college, and I'm close to getting ready to graduate.
Congratulations to you. Now, with that being said, let me ask you, where does our self-motivation derive from? How come sometimes we're not motivated the same way on our own, the way we get motivated when somebody tells us what we can't do? Why do y'all think that's a thing? Yes, sir.
I feel like people have a natural urge for defiance. So when somebody tells you, you can't do something, whether it be, you can't, get your hand out the cookie jar, you can't have that. Or like you said, as big as, oh, you can't do this, like you're not gonna make it. Like, I feel like, it's just defiance.
Defiance. So does that mean we all want to be defiant?
I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that question. No.
Is it a way to get our gears going to where it's like, oh, well, it's like an idea popped in our head to move towards a goal, or?
So I guess what I'm trying, you was gonna say something, I'll respond to that.
Sorry.
Go ahead, no, you good.
Responding to the question that you asked about why do we feel like that, I was thinking maybe like, not like seeing people around you. You don't see people around you who are able to do certain things, and maybe you don't think that you can do it yourself.
That's a thing too. That's a thing too. And with that being said, I think that seeing is believing. We gotta see stuff to believe that it's possible. Again, I'm not getting this PhD to toot my own horn. I gotta get it because who else from where I'm from gonna get it? Right? I guess that's my way of being defiant because we're told that we're not smart. We told what we are not capable of doing. We're, like right now I'm standing in a college classroom having an intellectual conversation with college students. All of you all are giving me your undivided attention. How did we all get here? Were we all defiant in the process of being here? Somewhere along the lines, we had to go against the grain. We had to do something different, or we had to do something that was going to maybe make us uncomfortable. Who in here likes to be uncomfortable? Raise your hand if you like to be uncomfortable. Who in here has ever wore a pair of socks that was soaking wet? How does those socks feel when you walk around in them? The worst feeling in the world. And how fast do you want to get those socks off your feet? Immediately. Why not endure it until the socks dry up on their own? Because they won't? They will. It'll take a long time though. It'll take a very long time. But why don't we like being uncomfortable though? We didn't raise our hand when I asked who in here likes being uncomfortable. You all have to like being uncomfortable. That's why y'all in this position. Is it comfortable being a college student? No? It's challenging, right? So why are y'all doing it? If y'all don't like to be uncomfortable, why would you put yourself in this position?
I have goals to achieve.
Say that again.
I have goals to achieve.
Goals to achieve. What you said, miss?
Stretch.
Stretch.
Stretch ourselves.
Stretch ourselves.
Get a better education as well as set up a career for not only myself, but set up a financial stability for my children later on in the future.
How easy do you think that's going to be?
It's not going to be easy.
But you have to do it. So somehow, some way, we do like being uncomfortable a little bit. Like I said, everybody in here is great. Everybody in here is a diamond. You just got to get that dirt off you. You got to figure your way out. Whatever it is, you got to get out of. See, I believe in the power of education. I believe in the power of knowledge. Like, I think it's so cool that I can be standing on the block and you'll never know that I'm a professor. And then you can meet me in my office and then have a conversation. You'll never think I come from the block. I'm gonna, when you roll up your sleeves, that means it's time to get a little dirty. So I just wanna also, again, I brought some props and stuff like that to make my points, to get my point across, because I know I'm not gonna be able to say everything I wanna say, but I'm an author as well, right? And I never saw an author that looked like me. When I say me, I'm talking about like, I got tattoos everywhere. Like I'm like blasted. Like blasted, because I love tattoos. But sometimes if you go into a job interview or something like that, you automatically get written off because of how you look. I used to have a big afro, real nappy. I used to wear real nappy. Like I had like probably like 6 or 7 times more hair than you had, but I used to wear it like out. Because I felt like my hair was my branches. Because I believe in spirituality, I believe in the universe. But then I cut my hair because I wanted to be professional. But what is professional? Do I not sound intelligent? That was a question.
You do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Because that's the only thing I care about. I care about being intelligent. It makes my day when somebody says something about my intelligence or my ability to think. I don't care about what you think about my basketball skills. Oh my God, I put in so much work for her. I worked so hard for her. I worked so hard for her, she wouldn't marry me. She would not marry me, y'all. And I put in countless hours. I used to sleep with her, in the bed. I used to wake up to her. I used to dribble her in the house, get cursed out for her in the house, ball off the window in the house. I did everything for her, with her, and she did not marry me. Because again, guys, only 1% of 1% make it. But we all chasing this dream. There's a gentleman by the name of Dr. Jawanza Kunjufi who talks about the conspiracy to destroy black boys. And he talks about, have anybody ever heard of him? And he talks about how we're all chasing these jobs. There's only 450 NBA jobs. LeBron James has been in the NBA for 20 years. That means he's holding one job. You're not going to take LeBron's job. You're not going to take Steph Curry's job. You're not going to take Kevin Durant's job. In the NFL, there's not that much space. So why are we all chasing this? But we all could be intellects. We all can contribute academically. So why don't we? Why would Brandon Vega put himself in a space where a man like this, I don't think I should be walking next to? I know killers. I could get on the phone with a killer right now. I could FaceTime a killer right now. And he's my friend. And I love him to death. And I don't understand him. And I ask him, why do you do the things that you do? But I don't judge him. Because he has a rationale for why he does what he does. And it's none of my business. I just make sure I don't, when it's time to purge, I'm not around. But I don't judge that man. And I sit and I talk with that man. And I talk to my friends who are incarcerated to try to understand how do we avoid these things. So going back to it, right? I wanted to be this Division I basketball player. I finally get to Winthrop University on the second day of school. I tear my ACL. You can Google it, Brandon Vega, ACL, Winthrop University, it'll come up. I played for a man by the name of Pat Kelsey. Pat Kelsey is now the College of Charleston head coach. Pat Kelsey just signed a $5.5 million deal. When he recruited me, I'm the first person he ever recruited for his Division I coaching job. I'm the first person he ever recruited ever. When Pat Kelsey recruited me, he probably was only making $300,000, if that. Now he just signed a $5.5 million deal. When we talk about social capital and staying connected, I could call Pat Kelsey right now. And I ended up transferring from Winthrop because me and him was like oil and water. Ladies and gentlemen, the man you see in front of you, I've evolved so much. That's why it's ghetto conscious evolution of a rebel. I had one of the worst attitudes you ever want to imagine. I always had something to say back. I always had an answer for everything. I always thought I had a better idea than you. I wanted to fight. I like physicality. I don't know why. I probably can't beat that many people up because I'm not that big. But see, in my mind, I think I'm 6'8" or 6'9" and I weigh 300 pounds. In my mind, I think I'm the king of the jungle. In my mind, I think I'm the president of the United States. In my mind. But why don't we all think this way? Why are we all not this confident? Because we should be. We shouldn't allow the things that's happening around us or to us make us feel inadequate or make us feel less than. Nobody I grew up with said, hey, Brandon, let's go read this book. Or, hey, Brandon, did you check out this new book? Or, hey, Brandon, did you see this new documentary? Or, hey, Brandon, Hey, Brandon, you want to play football today? Hey, Brandon, you know about this gun right here? Hey, Brandon, have you ever smoked this before? These are the things we're being faced with. I had a friend of mine one day on my way to work. It wasn't even 8 o'clock in the morning yet. I was passing by the store. He was drinking a beer. It wasn't even 8 o'clock yet. This was somebody that I used to sit in class with right next to him. And I was wondering, how you drink a beer at 8 o'clock in the morning? So I hadn't seen him in a long time, so I got out my car and I parked across the street because where he was standing is not where you want to be, and I didn't want anything to go down in my car to get shot or anything like that. So I understand the game, so I know to park across the street, walk. Y'all following? Okay, so I run up to him and I'm like, what's up, man? How you doing? What you doing out here drinking a beer, this and that? He said, man, I'm just getting ready for work. Damn, you about to be intoxicated before you go to work? That's how hard it is out here? That's where we at now? We gotta drink a beer before we go to work just to get through the day? But it's all about our minds, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about the way we think, and I said some of the things I said to lead to eating and how that comes about. But going back to the ACL, I tore my ACL. So now, boom, I reached this goal of playing Division I basketball and I can't play the whole year. So now I gotta sit down and watch everybody. Now I gotta realize I gotta think about something else. I play the following year, I don't play as much as I would like to play. Then I end up transferring. I transferred and played for a coach who was okay. But he had some ways about himself that I didn't really agree with. But anyway, that's neither here or there, because that man is also the man who gave me my first opportunity to do public speaking. He allowed me to come back and speak to his team about eating and what eating meant. And again, eating means exist above the noise. Existing above the noise is not getting distracted or deterred from your goals in life. Eating derives from the ghetto, because where I'm from, eating means getting some money. And we all trying to get some. But I always was wondering, how do we get money in ways where we're not jeopardizing our freedom and sacrificing our lives? Where we're not putting ourselves in position to be railroaded? Because again, the chances of me going to jail is very, very high. Because according to statistics, 1 in every 3 black men are going to go to prison in their lifetime. Now, how is 33% of us at least going to go at least one time? How are these numbers so high? We're all not trying to go to prison. We all trying to go to the NFL and NBA. So how are we going to prisons at such a high rate? So I had to exist above the noise. I had to learn to figure out ways to stay away from making the same choices everybody else was making. Who in here is going to be the first person in their family to graduate college? 1, 2, and some of you all already have people that have graduated. So you guys are but you guys are ahead of the curve. That is beautiful, that is wonderful that you already have had an example. But imagine how hard it is when you have to be the first to do something. I don't know anybody that ever wrote a book. I went to YouTube University and I Googled the hell out of how do you write a book. I learned it on my own because that's something that I really, really wanted to do. That's existing above the noise. That's not getting distracted or deterred. It was hard. The pledge for eating is, I will discover my purpose in life. In order to fulfill my purpose, I will embrace all pressure and challenges along the journey. I will achieve the goals I set out to accomplish. I will take the good with the bad, understanding that nothing in life comes easy. And I will never lose sight of the bigger picture despite the obstacles thrown my way. I will exist above the noise. How can I starve if I'm always eating? So it's spiritual as well. Because I believe in something greater than myself. And I believe that I'm here to do something. That's why I talk like this. That's why I believe I can walk in any room and I'm going to stick my chest out. I don't care how many accolades you got. I don't care how smart you think you are. If it's time to compete, you're not going to beat me. That's just how I think. Anything I have to do to win, I'm going to do it. Anything I have to do to feed my son, I'm going to do it. It does not matter what has to be done. That's where I'm at in my thinking. We have to exist above this noise right now. Currently, there's things always happening that we can't get distracted by. And we have to try to figure out in this world right now with all the things that's going on, how do we still stay the course and do what we're supposed to do despite what's going on around us? You had to travel all the way across the country to do something that you set out to do. You put your mind to it. That's eating. Who in here doesn't eat at all? Who in here fasts every day? Who in here is vegan? Pescatarian? Vegetarian? But everybody in here consumes something at least one time a day, right? Because we have to. So eating is feeding your mind. Feeding your mind the right things. What are you intaking? What are you watching? What are you reading? What conversations are you having? I'm not gonna lie to you all. Sometimes I have some BS conversations because those are the people that I'm around. I have to sometimes lower myself and bring myself down to everybody else. Most of the things I know, I can't have conversations with people I grew up with about, which is sad to me. Sometimes I spend late nights sobbing and crying and sad because I can't talk to my friends about what I learned today, or what I read today, or what I researched today. I can't have those conversations with my best friend. My best friend still want to talk about stuff when we was 13 years old. I don't want to talk about that. My son is 5. He'll be 13 in 8 years. I don't want to talk about anything I was doing when I was 13. Because that means we're going backwards. The way I want to think like I'm 60 years old. I want to think light years ahead. Right? The way I constructed this book, and I'll pass it around so you all can look at it. You could breeze through it as it's being passed around. The way I constructed this book, I asked myself, how come when we listen to music, ladies and gentlemen, and you all, chime in whenever you're ready, and I didn't say this in the beginning, I want this to be, that's why I'm posing questions as well. I never like to talk at people because I was once a person who sat in seats, and I'm not probably gonna listen to you if you're just talking at me. I don't care what message you're saying and this and that and the third, and that's why I don't get offended when I do public speak and people not listening to me, because I get it. But I also believe that I'm going to say something that you don't want to miss, so you should be listening and hanging on to everything I say. But how are we able to learn to recite a song after only listening to it 2 or 3 times? Why do y'all think people are able to learn a song so fast, or learn how to, when they're watching a movie, they could quote the whole scene? How is that a thing? But when it's time to study for your assignment, or you got a midterm or a test or anything like that, you're nervous, you're not studying, you procrastinating, you're doing everything to shoot yourself in the foot and put yourself in the hole. But when it comes to your favorite song, or when it comes to your favorite movie, or when you really like a celebrity or something like that, you know this stuff like the back of your hand. How is that a thing? Yes, ma'am.
Because like you're listening, it don't mean that you're interested in what you like. Oh yeah, like this is something I like, something I want to do. But when it comes to like school, procrastinate.
I feel you. What you was gonna say, miss?
Appealing or lack of appeal. Like, I used to tell myself I hate school, I don't like school, school's annoying, and I was having a conversation with a family member who said you have to get that out of your head. Like, you can't have this ideology. So like, I know if I'm, at least at this age, if I'm going to school, like I have to learn to fall in love with what it is that I'm learning, even if I don't like it, or even just falling in love with the process of learning, and make it appealing, the way how I made that song appealing in my brain.
Got you. So how much unlearning do we have to do?
A lot.
A lot of unlearning. Because again, I'm curious to know, like, when we recite these songs and stuff like that, we are reciting words we probably can't spell. We're reciting words we probably don't even know what they mean. We don't know how to pronounce them correctly. How is this a thing? But when we hear, or let me ask you all this, how do we make school more appealing, more interesting, more intriguing, more engaging? How do we do these things? Because I truly believe that the way school is set up is for people to fail and be bored. I think that's how it is. Like when I teach my classes, right? I'm like the guy who got the stick, or I'm not the stick guy. I'm the guy who walks to the ant pile. I look at it. I'm looking at how many ants are in it. I probably see about 20 ants or 30 ants, but I see how big the ant pile is, and I know it's about 1,000 in there. So I'm the guy that kicks the ant pile. I kick it so hard that ants are running up my legs and I have to swipe them off, but then I see all the ants running around crazy. And I'm the one who started it, and I enjoy that. I enjoy creating chaos. That's what I do in my classroom. Ladies and gentlemen, if you watch me teach in my class, sometimes it runs itself. I'll say something, I'll pose a question, or I'll put the ladies against the men, and it's just fun to watch. Like the other day in class, I said something, and I leaned on the wall for about 15 minutes with my hand in my pocket, and all the students was arguing with each other. And one student realized what I had did, and he said, look at him. He's over there, and he's smiling. He likes that. And I said, yeah. And then they tried to ask me a question, and I said, I'm not involved, because I'm not here right now. Ladies and gentlemen, your professors are not your teachers. You all are the teachers. We're just in these positions to help make sure things run effectively. We, give our lecture, we say this or that, but you have to teach yourself. You can't depend on somebody. Like, I could be up here lying. I could be lying about Utah. I could be lying about Mississippi. I could be lying about Eaton. I could be lying about being the author of that book. I could be lying about all that. These could be fake tattoos. That's the world we live in now. We live in a Mickey Mouse world. You guys know who DJ Khaled is, right? Everybody in here? I wish I would have known we had this. I would have put my PowerPoint in. But
That's fine.
it's all good. Maybe next time I'll see you guys, right? So I got a chance to meet DJ Khaled. Who in here follows him on Instagram or has ever seen him on Instagram? And you see how he is, like he always, like, he hyped like that. That's how he is in real life. I got a picture of me and DJ Khaled. If you see how he looking at me, you could tell he know that I'm not playing and I'm not a fan. I'm Brandon Vega. You met me. I didn't meet you. I could meet Jay-Z. You meeting Brandon Vega. Because Brandon Vega is a star. If you Google what Vega means star. You can Google it. Our names mean something. I believe in my name. I believe I'm a star. I believe I have something to do before this time is over for me. Like the older I'm getting, the more I'm chomping at a bit. Like I gotta figure out what to do today. I gotta make something happen today. What am I gonna write today? What am I gonna learn today? Who am I gonna meet today? When I talk about cultural capital, somebody in here is gonna be a Fortune 500 CEO. Somebody in here is gonna be a nurse. Somebody in here is gonna be a principal. Somebody in here is gonna have their own law practice. Somebody in here is gonna do something exceptional. But guess what? If you're not shaking hands to make friends, you'll never know. You'll never know. You have to get to know your classmates because you don't know who you're around. You have to get to know your professor better. You don't know who we are. When I walked in here, just by the way I look, would you think I'm an author? No. Professional, but maybe I just told you I know killers. What if I'm Dr. Indy just brought a drug dealer in here? I don't work at St. Thomas University. What if he just brought me in here and say, hey Brandon, perform and let's see what the students figure out? What if I just made bond? What if I just posted bail? Look at all these tattoos. I'm not a thug. I had a student tell me I look like a thug. After he told me that, and it was a student that looked just like me, it broke my heart. I made sure I wore a suit 3 weeks in a row. And I asked him every time we had class, I said, do I look like a thug today? After the first time, I asked him again. He said, come on, man. I'm gonna keep asking, do I look like a thug? By the end of that class, I said, do I think like a thug? Do I talk like a thug? Do I act like a thug? Do I behave like a thug? He said, no. Because you can't judge a book by its cover. That's why I, wanted to show you guys my tattoos, even though it doesn't matter. It's all decoration. But sometimes we don't get jobs because of how we look, or because of how our hair looks, or because we're a woman, or because we are whatever we are. We don't get opportunities. But we still have to figure out ways to exist above the noise. I'm not gonna let nobody tell me what I can't do. I'm a self-published author. My book is in different schools. My book is in colleges. I've keynote spoken. Speak, whatever you wanna say. I don't always speak proper English. I wanna be one of the most ghettoest, ratchetest, most whatever you wanna call it, ever. But I also have to straddle that fine line of being professional. I don't wanna be a professional. This is actually fun getting to perform. I would much rather be like my brothers who are in the ghetto than I want to be professional. But see, I have to show a new way. I have to show a new light. That's why it's ghetto conscious. Have you guys ever thought of ghetto meaning genuinely helping everyone thrive through obstacles? Have you ever thought of that? No? Does that sound like it's pretty cool? Yeah, I am ghetto. I am genuinely helping everyone. Doesn't matter what color you are. Doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. Doesn't matter if you have one eye, 3 eyes, your hair green. It doesn't matter. I'm here to help. I'm here to enlighten. I'm here to share. That's why I wrote this book. I wrote this book for my son. But I wrote this book because I had students disrespecting me. As soon as I graduated college, I was working at a charter school. And I got disrespected every single day by young black men. And it made me think to myself, and excuse my language, Dr. Indy, I must have been an asshole growing up. Because if karma is real, I am getting it. I had one student tell me, Mr. Vega, if I catch you outside, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z to you. Now, guys, I am a professional. I'm ABD. I'm about to get a PhD, but I do not take kind to threats. If you tell me what you're going to do to me, I don't know how I'm going to respond to you. But I think you might want to let your parents and your loved ones know that you don't have much time left. If you get where I'm going with that. You can't tell people what you're going to do to them, at least not where I come from. I've had a gun pulled on me before for talking shit. And I just have to be real right now, ladies and gentlemen. See, I understand this right here can take you very far, or can get you buried. That's ghetto conscious. How do I exist above that noise? How do we exist above our own noise? That voice in our head that tells us what we can't do. How do we get past that? Because it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Did you have a question, miss?
I was scratching my head.
Okay. Does anybody have a question before I'm about to wrap up soon? Does anybody have a question? Is anybody curious about anything? Is anything that anybody want to challenge or contest? Anything, you can. I like to spar. Do I sound believable? This might be a fiction story. See, I like to play with people's minds too. You never know with me. I'm probably lying. I'm one of the greatest liars as well. I do lie a lot. I tell a lot of lies. But they're very, very good that they sound like the truth. Any questions?
Are you lying?
Am I lying? I don't know. That's for you to determine. A liar doesn't tell you that he's lying. Does he? Sometimes. No, I'm not lying. But you're going to think, I wonder if he's lying. So now you're going to be messing with yourself mentally. But that's what this is all about, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about thinking, right? Have you ever seen a book with black pages? Once?
But not, it's very rare.
Rarely?
That's why when I looked at it, I was like, this is nice. You have black pages, and then that, I think last chapter 14 is white pages.
It's all white. Anybody else ever seen a book with black pages? So if I walk out of this class and you never see me again, that's why I'm the greatest ever, because you've never seen it before. How many books have you seen in your life? A lot. And you guys have said rarely and none. That's why I'm the greatest. That's why I'm the greatest. I thought of this. There's no book in the history of books named Ghetto Conscious. There's no books. You can't find no books. There's been millions of books written since the beginning of civilization. You won't find no book that says Ghetto Conscious to start. That's why I'm the greatest. I had a man tell me, you might want to rethink that title because, why do we have to run away from what we are? We want to be ghetto when it's convenient, but we don't want to be ghetto when I'm ghetto all the time because I'm genuinely helping everyone thrive through obstacles all the time. I'm Dr. Ghetto. When I get my PhD, I'm changing my name to Dr. Ghetto. There's Dr. Seuss and there's Dr. Ghetto. And I hope to rival his books. That's what we're doing. I'm just as great, if not better, than Dr. Seuss. And not because I'm better than him, but because I took what he's already done. How do we make it better? Right? You can never be better than the teacher, but how do I be better than the teacher? How can I be greater? I have to stand on the teacher's shoulder. Then my son got to stand on my shoulder. I discovered something that I found today. I didn't even know I brought it with me. My son is in pre-K. He tested out in the 99th percentile on a second grade level. Now, I'm very proud of that, right? There are certain commands. If I say something to my son, he knows what to say. If I point, I say, what does this mean? This means to learn. This means to listen. You have to listen to learn. You have to learn to listen. If I say power to the people, my son gonna go like this. I got videos of when he was 2 years old. You say power to the people, he gonna go like this. He knows he's being programmed. I'm having fun with my son. It's like Build a Bear. I can put anything into him. I'm putting all type of things into his battery backpack. So he could go out into this world and be great. Because nobody's gonna tell us we're great, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody's gonna tell nobody in here how great you are. They might tell you you're pretty, but they ain't gonna tell you you're great. That's the difference. Tell me I'm great, don't tell me I'm pretty. I can decide if, you know what I'm saying? I have to cultivate my own positive self-image. I don't need you to tell me I'm pretty or handsome, anything like that. If you tell me, hey Brandon, I really love the way you think, you'll make my day. You'll make my day. You don't have to tell me about anything else, about how good of a basketball player, or how this, or how good my book is. You don't have to tell me that. Respect my mind. That's all I want. So, ladies and gentlemen, my whole thing is this: every time I get an opportunity to talk to people, I want to exude so much confidence that people leave away from me thinking, why he think he's so, who he think he is? He not what he think he is. And that might be true, because we all struggle with believing what we are. But see, I've looked myself in the mirror plenty of times, and I've had plenty of conversations with the sky. I know what the hell I am. That's why I've been able to survive where I'm from. I've been able to navigate because I've used this. I told you guys, the practices my dad was using, probably not the right way to go, but I learned very early what not to do. I've had run-in with the police with guns drawn. I've had a gun put on me. It's not fun looking at a barrel. It is fun taking pictures though, but what's the difference? What's the difference between being on the other side of a camera and being on the other side of a gun? They both have flashes. They both have flashes, so what's the difference? This is how I live my life, ladies and gentlemen. We all are stars. We all are great. We all can and will, be whatever we want to be as long as we work. We don't need anybody to tell us what it is that we have to do. We all know what we need to do. Don't wait for somebody to tell you what you can't do to be self-motivated. Motivate yourself. Find a way to be motivated. Find something that encourages you. Find inspiration. I'm inspired by the Dr. Indies of the world, and the James Baldwins, and the Langston Hughes, and the Zora Neale Hurston's, and the Maya Angelou's, and the this, and the Muhammad Ali's, and the Tupac Shakur's, and I could go on and on. Fred Hampton, Malcolm X. I want to be Malcolm X. That's what I want to be. I don't know if I ever get there. That's what I want to be. I want to change the world. When my time is done, I want people to say, Brandon came through here. Jose Marti has a Cuban proverb. In life, you must do 3 things. Plant a tree, have a son, write a book. I've checked all 3 off the list, and I got plenty more living to do. So according to that proverb, I've already secured my space in this life, and I don't have to do anything else. Because guess what? If something happened to me today or tomorrow, that book right there is going to be forever. We all have a story, ladies and gentlemen. My story is no better than nobody sitting in here, but I teach at a university because of my story. Nobody knows. Have you all ever heard of Brandon Vega before Dr. Indy ever mentioned me? Have you ever heard of me? No. And again, not to toot my own horn. Do you think I'm somebody that maybe people should know or have heard about, or my book or anything like that? And I know you guys haven't read the book, but the book has to be somewhat good if a college president hired me for the book.
And also, if it is targeted for the banned book list. Continue.
Yes, I live in Florida. We have some rules down there where books can't be on certain shelves. Ladies and gentlemen, I had meetings with principals. I've gone downtown Miami-Dade County Public Schools. We are the 3rd largest school district in the country. Wow. Yes, ma'am. See, I'm such a gangster and such a hustler that I also pay attention to economics. We are the 3rd largest school district in the country. We operate off of a $5.5 billion budget. If you do 0.1% of $5.5 billion, if I got that money, I would be good. Oh man, if I got that money. So I'm trying to create things. I also have a workbook because I'm trying to buy my way off the plantation, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a game. This is not a game. I'm trying to implement something. I'm trying to implement something that's culturally relevant because the things that we learn about have nothing to do. And again, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter that you don't come from this. The themes of this book, I'm just going to say a couple of the themes. And somebody tell me in here if they've never had to experience this. One of the themes is adaptation. Who in here has never had to adapt to anything? Raise your hand if you've never had to adapt to anything. Okay. Another one is culture. Who in here has never been a part of a culture, whether it be your family on a team, you're part of the military, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there not a certain culture within the military?
Yes, sir.
Who in here has never participated in anything culturally? Raise your hand. Okay. And I'll just say one more. One of the other themes is growth. Who in here has never grown? My point exactly. This book is not about Brandon Vega. This book is about life. This is the ghetto Bible. I believe this. I believe in everything that I am. I say this often. If God would have made me any other color, we would have had a problem. I would have had some questions for God. Because I want to go through the struggle. I want to see what it's like to struggle and have to fight and claw. Because I know it. I know it. I'm a little guy. You walk past me, you don't give me no attention. I'm the average man. I'm 5'9". Why is he so confident? Guys, when I teach, sometimes I'll stand on the table to make my point. I'll do things you never saw before because I'm trying to get engagement. Like right now, see, I don't know this space, so I can't really, even though I am being myself. But see, if I come back and y'all see me again, y'all can be like, man, this guy's crazy. I have to be crazy, though. You have to be crazy if you want to get people's attention. You have to think about creating a book in a way that nobody's ever done it before if you want attention. Nobody doesn't know me as an author. I went to every bookstore in South Florida when I first wrote this book, and I put the book on the shelf, and I walked on the other side of the store, and I looked to see if my book would stand out. Ladies and gentlemen, not because it's my book, but this book pops more than any other book in the store. I was very intentional on the color. I read about colors before I chose the color, even though orange is my favorite color. My book is, on the back of it says $18.30. The reason why I priced it at that because where I'm from, the main road is 183rd Street, Miami Gardens Drive. When you buy my book, you're not paying me, you're paying homage to where I'm from. Everything is intentional. Ghetto, genuinely helping everyone thrive through obstacles. Eaton, exists above the noise. Everything is intentional. I'm not playing games, ladies and gentlemen. I have that same killer mindset that people who actually kill people, I have that mindset for my success. Do not get in the way of this truck when we're heading for success because you will get ran over. You also can hitch a ride if you want. But do not try to impede my progress because if you do, you will get ran over. So ladies and gentlemen, I might have left a lot of things on the table because right now my brain is spinning, so I want to leave time for Q&A. Do not let anybody tell you what you all can't do, all right? I did all this stuff on my own, and I'm still fighting and clawing to get people to understand and respect this because I'm not getting the respect that I think I deserve. I've done this. I got my hands dirty. I rolled up my sleeve, but people still not respecting this. But like I said, I'm trying to buy my way off the plantation. So we're operating off of a $5.5 billion budget. Somebody got to listen to me. But guess what? I'm in Alabama right now at Tuskegee University. This is a very prestigious, historical university. Do you guys even understand where you are? See, like I'm from Miami, so when everybody come to Miami, they want to go straight to South Beach. They want to go to the beaches. I'm from Miami, I don't care about the beach. See, when we live somewhere, we don't appreciate where we're at. But other people embrace and appreciate things that we can't even see or that we don't even want to see. I've only been here for 2 days and I don't even want to leave. The only reason I have to leave is because I got to get back to my son. Because I am in awe of the history here and what's been cultivated and created here. Because I believe that I'm just like everybody that started this beautiful university. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope I said some things that resonated. I hope I said some things that was relevant. I hope I said some things that was inspiring, encouraging, all of that. This ain't the last time y'all gonna hear from me. You may not never see me in the flesh, but you will hear about Brandon Vega again. You have to. Or that means that I lied. Thank you for y'all time. Thank y'all for y'all respect. I will take any questions if you have any. Don't be shy. You can ask me anything, and I promise I will tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Thank you for y'all time. I appreciate it. Thank you. Any questions?